Alright, okay, cool. Okie dokie 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 dokie. Alright, so any rate. Now that didn't work. That's fine. We'll just come back to it another time. Alright, so what's today? June the damn 2nd?
Yep.
June 2nd, 2022. Can't believe we're already in June. It's good to be back home too, by the way. Good to be back home. Good to be with you guys.
Good to see you.
It's a little frustrating because you know, I always would come in here and tease y'all because y'all are older, and I feel like I was a young man against old, you know, amongst older men, and now I'm the old man. I was supposed to be like Peter Pan, you know, the boy that never grew up. So, nonetheless, had a wonderful. I can't wait to tell you, man. We did some fun stuff this weekend. I'm lying. We really didn't do nothing. Honestly, you know, and so, you know, it's kind of like that. What was that movie with, who's that girl that does that show, GMA?
Good Morning America.
Yeah, she was on the Keel of the Bee.
Kiki Palmer.
Kiki Palmer. And so she did a show with, a movie with Ice Cube. Man, you're good.
What's the movie?
Longest Yard.
Ice Cube is in the Longest Yard.
Yeah. Something like that?
Yeah, quarterback. That's the one with Adam Sandler?
No.
The Longest Yard about the football team? Sorry,
yeah, she was the quarterback.
Okay, yeah, and so one of the things that they were saying was, he said when you score a touchdown, he's like, you know, just hand the ball to the ref. Act like you've been... Long shot?
Okay,
long shot. All right, fine.
All right.
Just act like you've been there before. So, man, you know, for so many years, man, we had done so much partying that I really kind of took it very, very light. I spent a lot of time with family. Interestingly enough, though, something happened right before that. So, before my birthday, that Monday, the mayor, Johnny Christ, came to, was going through the neighborhood passing out stuff for...
The mayor of...
Lilburn.
Okay.
Mayor of Lilburn, Johnny Christ, came to, oh, look who decided to show up for work today. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, so...
Love you too, man.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, you know, when the office always opens late.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, baby.
My bad.
Yeah. So the mayor, Johnny Christ, I talked to the mayor of Lilburn, former mayor, who's running for the House Representative seat 108, okay, for the Republican Party. And listen, this is the craziest thing.
He was a mayor of Lithonia?
Lilburn.
Okay.
Big difference, too.
Yeah, I know.
Huge difference.
One is up 85, one is down 20.
One's a strong Democrat hole, one's a very strong Republican hole. I live in Lilburn.
Is Lilburn, is it in any kind of transition? Because I know Gwinnett County's kind of flipping, isn't it? Anyway, sorry, go ahead. Tell your story, man. Tell your story.
No. Okay. All right. So, but that's where I'm about to go with it. Here's the good thing about it. So he comes over, man. We get to talking. He's riding around on a golf cart, passing out flyers, advertising. And I meet him, and we have a discussion. And I'm myself. Listen, when I tell you I'm myself, I'm really myself. So he sees me with, like, plaits on and everything. Mm-hmm. I'm not dressed up looking all, you know. Okay, thank you. All right. I'm not dressed up looking no kind of way. And to the point, we started talking, man, and the cat's eyes lit up, man, when we were having a discussion. He said, look, man, I want to invite you to church. Where we go to church at? I said, cool, no problem. And he said, and then sometimes we do stuff at the city center. I said, okay, cool, no problem. I'm like, all right, I'm down with that, man. And then Thursday, before my birthday weekend, he calls me back. And he says, now I had to give him my full name and everything. Full name, telephone number. He said, we want you to come and speak at the GOP headquarters in Lawrenceville on Saturday. That's 2 days from now. And my heart just started pounding. I was like, I'm thinking, is he serious? He was dead serious. And I said, well, what do you want me to talk about? He said, I want you to tell me everything you just said earlier. I was like, well, how do you want me to look? Keep in mind how I'm looking. He said, I want you to look the way that you're looking. I was like, these people are very calculated, so this don't make sense to me. Because I'm not going to rag on Rashid, but most of the time the black Republicans have a very corporate look about them. I do not have that look.
What do I have to do with it? I ain't a Republican.
I know, I didn't say that. I'm saying that
So violence today, bro.
I'm saying that a lot of times, shaved face, clean cut, and a lot of times if they're heavy, they got the franks in the back of their neck, with the hot dog franks and all of that. And it blew me away. To tell you the truth, blew me away. So I started to think. I was like, okay, if we start a conversation off and somebody says, the reason why our crime is reduced here in the city of Lilburn is because we have a strong neighborhood watch program, and he has my full name. This is the former mayor who's running for a state house representative. Talked to my neighbor next door. He said, yeah, I heard that you were supposed to be speaking down there at GOP headquarters. I'm like one of 3 black families in the neighborhood. This is no joke. I'm like, so they already know that I'm going to be speaking. I'm like, look. I said, okay, so I know how I'm looking. And I know that these people that already did their research. I'm telling you, I don't believe for 1 minute when people start talking about neighborhood watches and stuff like that they have a strong neighborhood watch program in the city of Lilburn. I know that they have looked me. I know they probably know everything about me. And I'm thinking, you still want me to come? I could not believe it. In fact, I was thinking, hey, JoJo, there was this scene. Did y'all see that scene in Game of Thrones where there was 3 dragons and they converted one over? I was thinking, I was like, I'm going to show it to you. It's a quick clip. But they had 3 dragons on one side that was always winning. And they converted one dragon over. And I was like, they must need a blue dragon. Because you need a dragon to fight dragons. JoJo. Yeah. Yeah. So what happened was, when you fighting dragons, you need a dragon to fight dragons. That's the only thing I can come up with, because I'm like, I definitely don't fit the traditional mold. He said, well, Larry, we need to show everybody that the Republican Party is made up of people of all different shapes, colors, sizes, this, that, and the third. I was honored. I said, I'd come speak. Caught a lot of flack when I told a lot of people about it, though. Couldn't believe it.
What was the nature of the flack?
People that know you were still upset? Like people that know you? They were
people that know
that
Trump supporting Laris?
No, I was just anti-Biden. I was not necessarily.
No, Negro, you was not.
Let me say something. Economically speaking, yeah, I would favor. Let me say this.
Those are typically the policies that if you are black and you're leaning toward the right, it will be because of their fiscal conservatism, correct?
Correct. Okay. I'm going in there to take a jab for y'all, man. I'm going in there and people was like, man, do you think they like you? I said, man, what does that have to do with anything? What does somebody liking you have to do with anything? That has nothing to do with anything.
That's a very Democrat way of thinking.
That's a very emotional way of thinking.
That's a politically ignorant way of thinking.
None
of them like you.
I mean, right.
They're using you to acquire power.
And they play golf together.
So I told, exactly. So I told my homegirl Lex, I said, when she said something about it, I said, do me a favor, let's do an exercise. I said, take out a piece of paper. She didn't do it, but I said, take out a piece of paper. I want you to write down all of the people, because there's just this racist stigma. I said, I didn't get that from, but let's just say they are. Take out a piece of paper, write down all of the racist white people that you've encountered that have ripped you off. Put that on one side, and then I want you to write down all of the black people who say that they like you, that have ripped you off on the other side. Case closed. All right, so the fact of the matter is, I don't care about that. If I'm gonna be around people that don't like me, I'd rather be around people that don't like me that can do something for me. So many connections. Everybody's joking, they playing games, but the fact of the matter is that they would do the same thing. Would you turn down if the GOP wanted you to come speak? Would you turn it down?
Mm-mm.
Would you turn it down?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, you get it. Shoot, man. It's too
Can
many.
you now hold on now that shit was presumptive. Now you ain't even.
You know what? That's right. That's right. I'm acting like Biden now. Would you turn it down?
I'll speak to anyone that wants to hear me speak.
Exactly. If they invited me out to hear me speak, I'm gonna go speak. So, anyway, let's get on with the show. Now that we
So did you spoke?
Right, like
no, I
that's
speak on Saturday.
Oh, this
2
coming
days
Saturday.
from now.
Okay, all right.
I got some people coming with me, man. Yes.
You wrote it.
Yes.
Boy, you've been waiting to preach, boy. I'm happy for you, man.
You know what, Erica? I had talked to Erica about this because, Erica used to do a show with us back in the day, and
EC, what
she
up,
said,
man?
she said something
We
very
miss you.
powerful. Yeah, we do miss you, by the way. She said something very powerful. I said, I don't know if I'm ready, if I'm prepared. Erica's a phenomenal writer. I used to steal some of Erica's shit, man. I'll tell you the truth. Erica would be saying stuff we talk on the phone. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna be using that. You know what I'm saying? So Erica's a phenomenal writer, one of Spelman's best. And I said, am I ready? Am I prepared? She said, you've been prepared for this your whole life. You didn't even know it. You know, so I'm going in there to represent y'all. I'm going to take some 5%ers and some brothers from Islam in there with me too. So.
What? Hold on.
Yes.
Time out. You finna take some of the NOI with you?
That's right.
Oh, man.
That is what they're banking on, man. They are in trouble, man. This was traditionally a red state. They didn't need our input. They didn't need our help. Now it's a purple state. We don't know which way to go.
I don't know if it's this.
Yeah,
I mean, we're going to see how purple it is. I think,
I know what
Abrams did come close, but I think Trump was a big factor in that last election. I think there were a lot of suburban Republican women in particular that weren't really feeling Trump. And there's kind of a tack-on effect there. But, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people that really ain't feeling Biden.
If Herschel Walker manages to unseat Warnock, then the whole idea of a purple state goes out the window.
Well, I definitely agree with that. But we made our predictions about Kemp. Number one, we said he was gonna whoop.
Kemp should win.
That he was gonna whoop Trump's boy Purdue, and he whooped him by a wider margin than anybody. And prediction was that Kemp would beat Abrams by more than he beat Abrams by last time. So we'll see if the second half of that comes true.
Right.
And I think that would correlate to at least some extent with how Walker performs against Warnock.
Yeah, absolutely. And because people typically vote like straight down the ticket, right?
That's usually due to a lack of information too. Like you want to look like you're really voting for some shit that you know about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so it's crazy, man. And so I'm not only am I honored, but I'm looking forward to it. I had jitters. So I went out like one good night, and then we barbecued. And speaking of barbecuing, this is one of the topics was don't bring your posse everywhere. My homegirl came by, Lex, and I love her to death, and we're barbecuing. I typically don't. Y'all are welcome to come to my house too, by the way, whenever you decide you want to. But I typically don't have men over at my house, for a number of different reasons. And so, it's not my job to really set men up with people. You know what I mean? They have to do that for themselves. But the bottom line is that I'm thinking because Lex, if you saw Lex, you would think, okay, well, she definitely was inviting a female over. You know what I mean? And hey, look, nothing against it. So Lex said, so she can get mad at me if she want to. I'm sorry, I assume that. She knows me from back in the day. So I said, yeah. She's like, my friend, come over. Let me tell you something, man. Some dude shows up to my house, walks through my garage, rings the doorbell. Justice goes to the doorbell through the garage. Now I got a front door too. And Justice was like, can I help you or something? You know what I mean? I mean, dude is slop drunk. He said he looked like he's about 40 years old or whatever. And he said, you get
What the fuck does that look like?
I don't know. I mean, I think that none of us really look
right. Like
40, but,
you should have said 50, 55. Like get us out the range, bruh.
But at any rate, so I told her, I said, look, man, here's the deal. I said, if he, I told her, I was like, if he shows up to my house again, I'm gonna shoot him. And she's like, this not working.
Sounds like a kind of extreme reaction.
Yeah, no, but you said I'm gonna shoot him.
You said that?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Because I got them little girls in the house. I got my daughter, and then most of the time her friends with her. I'm not having no drunk men roll up in my house.
Let me help you out.
Look,
don't telegraph your punch. It's more shit to deal with if it actually happens. Now when they investigate, because that's what they do.
Sure.
Now you said you was gonna do the shit.
I'm gonna call the cops for him. I'm not gonna kill him. I'm just gonna shoot him.
What sense does that make?
Whatever.
I'm trying, bro. I love you, man. I'm trying to help you out, man.
She was like, you gotta do all that. I said, no, you don't need to come in my house. I'm like, gotta charge you down here on the street, bumping music and stuff. I'm like, oh, man, no, don't do that. I don't want no attention drawn over here, man. And I don't have men around my house. I don't do that. Ever. You know, that's a game. Every man need to get his own thing going on. All right, so at any rate, fast forward. NBA Finals start tonight. I know everybody's excited about that. Really quickly, I believe that the Celtics are going to win in 7 games. I'm a Lakers fan, so it's kind of blasphemous to go for the Celtics. I'll take y'all's opinion on it before we move on to the other thing. I'm just so happy, man, because with the NBA Finals starting up, at least we won't be talking about Queen Elizabeth's anniversary, man. If I have to hear that one more time, man, I'm going to hang myself from a ceiling fan. Yeah.
You want us to chime in on the the most evilest woman that we've known in modern times? That's you. You talking about?
Or you think about Queen Victoria?
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure Queen Elizabeth done had some hearts snatched out. I mean, why are all these people living to 100? That's just not normal.
Prince Philip is gonna get robbed. He won't be the king, man.
That's just not normal.
You think he'll outlive his mom? That's crazy. He's 71 and he hadn't seen the throne yet. That's wild. That's wild to me. Not Prince Philip, Prince Charles.
Charles, yeah.
Prince Charles. Nah. Yeah. Anyway, who you got in the finals, Rasheed?
Celtics.
Tatum.
Celtics.
That's what I thought. Everybody's talking about Golden State. Man, Golden State finna win.
Because someone injected this notion of like, where does if Steph wins another one, right? Let's say Steph wins his 4th, right? Yeah. And then possibly another MVP, which is really hard playing with Draymond and Clay now, like a healthy Clay, because anybody can just go off. You know what I mean? Any moment for them, rather. But would he be top 10, right? Like all time? I think that it is hugely debatable.
Absolutely.
That he will be top 10 even with a 4th ring and another Finals MVP.
Right. I mean, there are people who have less rings that would go higher than Steph to me, but that's just my personal opinion. You know what I mean? And some people that have more rings that I would put Steph over, per se. Baby formula, really quickly, before we get into the assault rifles and stuff like that. Hey, what's wrong with, do y'all have an opinion on that? Baby formula runs out. Why can't we go with nature's own breast milk? Is there something wrong with that? Is that a chauvinist thing to say that mammals should use their breasts to feed their babies?
I'm sure some women have a perfectly good reason for using baby formula. I mean, they could have issues with the breasts or
maybe not
whatever.
100% of women, but I mean, don't you think that would cut down on it if some of them went that way?
Sure it would. But I don't know if that's a thing, particularly once, if it's a certain age. I don't know if it's a thing where you just be like, oh, no baby formula? Here. Like, I think, like, you have to, like, maintain that from, like, an early part of the child. I could be mistaken on that, but I don't think you just whip the titty out, at like, 18 months and just start breastfeeding.
No.
Okay. All right.
That's
a good point. I mean, we could look at the newbies.
I think I have an interesting take on it.
Go ahead.
I think that this is a symptom of the processed food generation that we all grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
Aha.
That's exact. I think that once the processed food generation, once that ideology or that practice kind of took over, the whole learning how to do certain things, you know what I mean? Like it kind of just fell to the wayside because it was just about convenience. Like why would I learn the art of like breastfeeding, right? You know what I'm saying? Because essentially from what I hear women say, it takes a minute. Every baby doesn't latch on like that. I think that's the correct term. Every baby doesn't latch on to the teat. So you go through these things, and they all like look at the generation that we're living in. We don't really want to learn traditional skills, and that is, although it's biological, I think it's more of a it's like a traditional type of thing, and they're not really.
And on the flip side, even though we don't have the formula's not there or the baby food's not there, on the flip side, they could make their own stuff.
It's mashed peas.
It's mashed peas and stuff like that.
Mashed peas and
so
carrots.
You can control what any preservatives, stuff like that you put in there because it has to sit on the shelves. So a lot of stuff can be done at home and made best for them. So
we as a society, we make ourselves vulnerable when we detach ourselves from the analog way of living. Like you have to have balance between analog and digital. So with all of these, another processing plant caught fire. There's some issue. There's some issue with the baby formula. Like I don't know whether or not this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not this stuff is. I don't know whether or not this is a concerted effort. I don't know whether or not it's a conspiracy. I don't know what it is, but it's not normal. And if it's not normal, you got to kind of raise an eye to it to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Because it's like they speak on the next pandemic, and now we just got our first confirmed case of monkeypox.
Yeah,
in Georgia.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah.
It's like it's almost a script almost. So when you sit back and you look at it, and you view this, the life in Sanskrit is Leela, which means life's play, right? When you step back and you look at it, it's like it's a play. Like you can see the characters, you can see how things are unfolding. So baby formula. I mean, I think people care more about how they look than they care about nourishing. And I mean, this can go for either gender. You know what I mean? Whether or not it comes to nurturing or providing guidance and discipline in a masculine sense. So
yeah, the number to call if you want to call in is 470-251-4707. We're probably going to be, anytime you start suggesting what people do with their bodies, you're going to come under attack, unfortunately. That's just the nature.
I'm not suggesting. This is what nature said.
I'm with you. Every mammal does it this way.
Like, why the fuck are we drinking cow's milk? Get the fuck out of here.
I agree with you. I agree. And speaking of a change of the guard, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, anybody got an opinion on that? That's big, baby.
She shit in his bed.
Yeah.
She claimed that he was. She actually said that no one is going to. That's my only issue. She weaponized her gender, which is what I thought people who want equality are fighting against, the weaponization of your gender. She literally said, yes, I'm abusing you, but no one who's going to believe you. Doesn't that sound like the cornerstone of the Me Too movement?
Where's the bell?
Does that sound like the cornerstone of the
Where
Me Too movement?
is the bell? Listen, I'm addressing the GOP on behalf of, thank you. I'm addressing them on behalf of the fact that people are using the government institutions as conduits for revenge. And you know who was disproportionately affected by that? The most? Black men. Go to Fulton County and spend a couple days in there at Rice Street and just find out. You be like, you ain't here for what? You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. It is bananas, man. It's not even about the Amber Heard thing. To me, it wasn't about justice. It was about doing something to permanently disable this man. Because in this cancel culture, we're kind of in a position where allegations alone can get you no more jobs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He was canceled. He lost one of the most lucrative acting gigs ever. He's Jack Sparrow. Now they're going to use the young lady who was his protege to take over the role. But no one's really going to be interested anymore because Jack Sparrow, like Johnny Depp, is one of the greatest character actors of all time. Like he embodies every single character that he plays. You know what I mean? Like it's
Started
only
with Edward Scissorhands, maybe. Yeah.
my shit. Wasn't he in Crybaby? Wasn't that one of his first movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
George Young and Blow.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, I mean, so it's kind of is that Rashid? Is that a changing of the guard now? Are we in a position where we're going to begin to see less credibility to defamation of character from women towards men?
I don't know, man. It's hard to say. That was an extraordinary case, and I don't know that the average person, the average male, would have the kind of resources that Johnny Depp has in order to tell his side of the story. I mean, obviously, and she also just kind of fucked up, too. And so there's that. So
She the only one?
I mean, again, like I said, I mean, she did fuck it. Like I think that she talked to people and that sort of thing. And like, it's, had she been less sloppy, maybe she gets away with it. I don't know.
I think that there's well, go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
Oh, you good?
I think that sometimes the
Thank you, Ken.
the greed and egregious nature associated with like, here's the thing. This is why slavery ended, I think, too. Like, people get to a point where they've won so much they put so much heat on people to where they just don't know when to stop. Man, your greed is always your undoing, and so now we're in an era where we're really at the tipping point of revolution. You know what I mean? Because it's just gotten so damn egregious. I mean, it's just become completely egregious to the point to where I'll talk to y'all after the show. All right, so any rate, this hurricane of an economy, what was it? Was that the Fed chairman or whoever said that we're headed for economic hurricane?
I thought that was like Jamie Dimon or someone like that.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well,
He's not. He's the head
rank?
of. I think he's the head of. Not Merrill Lynch, but
J.P. Morgan.
J.P. Morgan.
Okay,
right.
yes. All right, you're right about that. And he said we're headed towards an economic hurricane. Biden suggests that they raise corporate taxes in order to remedy this. Rashid, what happens if you raise taxes on people who provide jobs?
Well, first off, they'll probably start laying people off to start figuring out how to automate, and they'll also pass those increased prices on to
The
consumers, which is inflation. So yeah, it's not a great idea. Well, let me say this because it's worth clarifying that just a little bit, because there has been a very popular economic school of thought that has been taking over a lot of progressives called modern monetary theory. And the idea behind modern monetary theory is that the government should not care about like deficits and debt and things like that. The government should print as much money as it wants to do whatever it wants to do. And when there's inflation, then the government can fight that inflation by raising taxes. And there are two problems with that. So we've done the first thing. We've spent our way into inflation. It's not 100% spending, but it's a big part of it. But the problem is that they're taxing the wrong people, because the thing is that in theory, raising taxes does decrease consumption. But like you said, you raise a tax on a corporation. Well, the number one thing that pretty much every corporation consumes is labor. therefore, you're going to consume less labor. You have to tax the consumer, and more importantly, for the same reason that Democrats always get mad when the Republicans cut taxes, and they're like, well, the rich, they're just going to save the money. You should cut taxes on the middle class so they'll actually spend it. Well, for that same reason, raising taxes on the rich is not going to help because, again, a lot of the consumption is on the middle class, but the Democrats are scared to raise taxes on the middle class. They don't have the guts to do anything like that. So this will probably have to happen through higher interest rates.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's one of the things that they were attempting to do. Monk, what do you think about that?
Now, I saw a report that was saying, we're headed for a recession in like the next 2 years. So
we are probably in a recession.
Yeah, I think it's really been like this for about the last 18 months. Mm-hmm. We really started seeing like the first evidence of it. I don't know. I've kind of just decreased my spending. I'm a little bit more mindful. I'm thinking of ways now, like in all of these situations, there's always a widening of the gap between, you know what I'm saying, between the have and the have-nots, and usually it's because poor people or people with less money tend to have a scarcity mindset when things get tight. You know what I'm saying? I think that's really if you're smart and you're savvy, then you know how to make money when things go down, and then you know how to make money when things go up. So if you just calm down and bank on people's appetite of greed, bank on that lasting longer than your, you know what I'm saying, outlasting your ability or inability to recoup and become successful, because the shit's not going to stop. People are so greedy, like they're not really ready to give the world up and just have it to where we're all, you know, dressed up in tattered clothes and, you know what I'm saying, chanting the bone gods and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's not we're not ready for the Mad Max lifestyle yet. That's just what I think. I just been looking at things. I'm like, they're not really ready to release it and just let everything go crazy. What's that convention that they had? What was that back up after World War II?
Gretchen Woods.
Gretchen Woods, right. So I'm just so I mean, once, you know, like once I kind of started researching about Gretchen Woods, I was just like, man, they agreed to make the United States a superpower, the dollar and all that stuff. If it goes down, it's the end of the world. Like, I just don't think they're ready for all that.
Right. I mean,
whoever they are.
Yeah. You know, so I tell people all the time. You know, I had I went to Denver one time some years ago for a Broncos game. Big Broncos fan. Actually, I think we're going to the Super Bowl this year. Russell Wilson. Just had to throw that in. But, you know, I got out there, me and my homeboy went out there, and he was like, man, we're going to pay.
Did you just say that shit? Okay,
yes,
my bad.
Yes. But you don't think it's the Falcons, do you? You wouldn't dare say that on this panel, would you?
Well, can we continue?
Okay, all right, yeah. It's Mario, the Super Bowl MVP. All right, so call the National Guard. So my point is saying that is
That was slick. That was a slick.
my point is saying that is we were I know what much tickets cost. I'm not gonna talk about it, but he's like, man, we're gonna pay that much for tickets, man. I was like, yeah. I said, well, we didn't fly all the way out here to sit in the nosebleed. We could have stayed at home for that. So it's like sometimes in life when you've experienced certain things, you don't want to go back. Here's the unfortunate part. Thankfully, I've been in both situations where I've been in a position where I've had and then I didn't have. So I'm a transformer. You know what I mean? So if I had to, but I move with liquid, right? You know what I mean? So a lot of stuff I have, with the exception of my home and one vehicle, is completely paid for. So I could just start getting rid of things.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I had to, you know, but it would be more so to attain more capital, to capitalize off the fact that once things kind of crash, if you got capital now, you can get kind of whatever you want. You know what I mean? And so, you know, we get rid of convertible Benz, and before you know it, we'll be back with a convertible Aston Martin. You know what I mean? A year or two. You know, so if you so choose to have that, by the way, you know what I mean? That is not that's not a requirement. Now, I can definitely agree with Rashid on this. I mean, people and the first thing I did is, you know, I got a new bid, and I called my assistant, and I said, can we do this? I was like, do you think me and you can handle this together? You know, start looking at how you can hire less people. You know what I mean? And so it's very, very unfortunate, but I don't think that that doing things to the job creators is going to help. I did have one question before we get into the assault rifles discussion. Why do you think there's a labor shortage? Who's here now? Anybody wants to talk about that? I'd be curious now.
Interesting theory is that perhaps so much money was taken by corporations, saying that there's a labor shortage would allow them. It's almost like a loan deferment when you graduate college. It's like you just
people are literally not working, man.
I know. I'm not saying that people aren't working, but what I'm saying is that sometimes a little bit of something allows you to sneak in some other stuff too.
Yeah, sure.
You see what I'm saying? Sure. So there may be a labor shortage, but those numbers may actually it could be easier for those numbers to be inflated if you want to hide some money, because you've gotten, you know, billions of dollars for labor and there's no labor showing up, or whatever the case is, it's just easier to say people. It's easier to add an extra 10, 15, 20% to those numbers. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility to me.
Man, I know people that just don't want to flat out work, man.
Some people don't want to work.
I mean, I was
people
working
are fed up with the institution.
As a college grad, I was dispatching on the side. I was working in Atlanta public schools, and I was bartending. And who knows what else I was doing. Here's the point. It's people that don't want to work. So the real question is, this is my belief, and I'll let it flow and circulate, that once again, the government giving people money has created created an atmosphere of apathy amongst people. Every single time that they get in here and they start cutting people checks, they fuck everything up. And that's one of the things I'm going to be talking to the GOP about, because what we have right now is, why do I have to cooperate or work with these people when I can just go to the government and get a Section 8 check? Go ahead.
Well, I don't recall how much money was given out. I guess it just depended upon, a lot of people scam the government. But I think the initial check that everybody got, if someone can correct me if I'm wrong, was like $2,000 or something.
Yeah, what is
that's
that
just not enough. Well, my point is like, if people don't want to work, dude, like, but even like, yeah, of course nobody wants to work, right? But there's a breakdown. There's like a deeper breakdown to that than nobody wants to work, right? But all I'm saying is like $2,000 wasn't enough to satisfy like people's like hunger not to work, you know?
That was getting more than that on
but
the
you got to think
business
about
maybe like if you had an LLC. Now that goes into the people that were scamming.
you got to think about the ones that got the $2,000 plus they was getting the unemployment check, and so they was getting, for a lot of people I know, they worked in different industries. Through that, they was making more money not working than they did working.
Not to mention they couldn't be kicked out of their home, so they weren't even paying their rent.
Well,
because they knew you couldn't be kicked out. They weren't even putting the money towards the bills. They were just pocketing it. Well, go ahead.
Well, that's the big one right there. I think is the suspension of people having to pay their rent and mortgage, because if you had mortgages as well, at least
deferments.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And I know this personally because I was having someone defer their mortgage payments for a whole year.
Yeah, there's something to all that. I do think that PPP there's probably a lot of fraud in PPP. I also think that like where the $2,000 checks most likely did damage wasn't so much with people that didn't want to work. They did damage by giving those checks to people that had jobs and weren't struggling. And that money ended up going into all, market speculation and crypto and whatever. A lot of excess consumption, which inflation. Milton Friedman would tell you that it takes 18 to 24 months for all that extra consumer activity to make its way and show up as inflation. And it's been about that since they did all that stuff. I'd also say, though, that to the core question of why so many people why there's, I guess, so many job openings or whatever, is that there's a clear skill mismatch between the jobs that are out there and the skills in the labor force. And I see this every day.
I had thought about taking a job at Home Depot. I don't know how much skill sets you have to have, but yeah.
Well, the thing is that like the companies that did the best during the pandemic tended to be like more service-oriented tech companies, and lots of jobs from that demand. A lot of jobs were created. But there was not the sufficient amount of skill in the marketplace to actually do those jobs. And so that creates a mismatch between the types of jobs that are out there and the skill set and the population of people who could take those jobs.
Me? I everything y'all saying is true, man. I'm on some cynical shit. I don't think you can fucking scam the government. But anyway, that's just on some other shit. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you can do stuff. You can do nefarious things against the government, but we're talking about the government, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like everything, all a little bit of all of what everyone is saying about the money. Because I mean, some people were just like, shit. To your point, I'll just I'll pay my credit card debt off, or I'll save the money, or I'll get into crypto. Like there were a lot of crypto millionaires and a lot of people that committed suicide because they lost their millions. You know what I'm saying? Like just as quickly as they gained it. Once again, we're just looking at we're looking at a transition in how people acquire. We're looking at a full-on transition to the digital realm. That's really what I noticed when it came to money, because I was like, crypto, goddamn, you gotta start learning about this shit fast. And then you got DAOs, you got all of these, you know what I'm saying, you got all of these white page projects that are coming out. Like there's so many different creative ways to make money. If you do take some money from the government and you just sit on it like, oh, that's just some free money, and you didn't use it to what you really could have used it for, then you did yourself a disservice. Because I saw a lot of 12-year-old Infinities with rims on them with drive-out tags when folks were getting that money. So I'm just saying, like, I mean, at the end of the day, bro, like, get you an old Honda Accord and take up the other $5 grand.
Nah, we can't do that.
Take
we
the
can't
other,
do that, bro.
Nigga, the Chargers, you gonna wreck the Charger anyway.
Yeah, man, but you can't get no ASS, man.
Why you can't?
Listen, I'm playing a game with you. You know,
I'm playing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo, like, stop trying to do. You drive for show and you putt for dough. I think, you know what I'm saying, like, for real, I think we do a lot of driving for show. You know what I'm saying? So when the government does give you money, you don't think like, oh, how can I find a better skill? How can I do something to create long-term wealth? You know what I mean? Let me figure out how I can flex money phones on the gram and TikTok and shit. Like, you kind of play right into the hands that lead into like a dystopian society over time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta play. I'm just saying, like, you gotta fucking play into that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? You just relinquish so much control.
I hope you don't lose that jag, because then you're gonna lose the ass too if that's the way you think. Go ahead. Say something.
No, I lost my train of thought.
All right, okay. So, should civilians be allowed to, let me make it clear. Should 18-year-old civilians be allowed to buy assault rifles?
What is an assault rifle?
Okay, we'll say I'm going to say fully automatic.
You already can't buy a fully automatic. You
can't have a fully automatic. You can have a bump stop.
I was just about to say, they're going to throw a bump stop.
But the bump stops after the Las Vegas massacre, the bump stops were taken off the market.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate your pedantry, Music Monk. And it is well taken. But yeah, I mean, again, I guess, look, if they want to make it illegal for an 18-year-old to hold an assault rifle, I wonder, should it be illegal for an 18-year-old to vote? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just thinking, like, if 21 is like the age, you know what I'm saying? The 21, should an 18-year-old be able to go into the military? You know what I'm saying? But to the bigger question of just like, again, I don't think that would help at all. I don't think this helps the problem. The problem is like the dude today shut up like a medical center because apparently apparently like the surgeon denied his pain or something like that. And I mean, the fundamental question is just like, and he killed that person and 3 other people. Now look, a gun will not make you do that. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a violating the social contract like that is something way bigger than access to a gun. I'm not like super duper hardcore Second Amendment, but there's a clear like decay of, or I don't know, maybe it's always been like this, I don't know, but like it's clear that these people are sick. These people that do all this stuff are sick. But the problem with, like, they talk about like the red flag laws, but for me, like, that goes back to what you were talking about with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Is that like, you think that won't be weaponized? You think people won't be reported, as go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I got a message saying that they could not hear the audio. All right, I don't know. All right. Just go on. We'll figure out how to fix that bug later.
Well, just briefly, to Rashid's point, I kind of, I think we've all been having these conversations with people in our lives, like, whether it be like loved ones or colleagues, associates, what have you. And essentially, evil is evil, right? So you can raise.
It's good. Okay.
You can raise the limit, the age limit, but ultimately, I likened it to just doing hardcore drugs, right? Like cocaine is illegal, but everyone somehow, some way can get their hands on it. Molly, ecstasy, etc. Even if you raise the age limit to purchase guns, it'll be nothing for a peddler. Let's say that was my niche market of making money. I could be, let's say raise it to 21, or let's go a little more extreme, 25. Okay, I'm over 25 years old. What stops me, outside of, I understand like background checks and then the gun being registered or what have you, but what stops me from purchasing guns and then selling them on the black market and scratching off serial numbers, etc.? If people want, and then to Rashid's point, is this: if you want to commit a crime and if you want to injure someone, you will. All right, take the guns out of it. Okay, well, I can use my vehicle as a means to injure someone. I can use a knife as a means to injure someone. I can use gasoline and a lighter as a means to injure someone. So I'm not 100% sure that everyone's like, raise the age limit, which I actually do think they should, honestly. But that's not gonna stop people from committing school shootings. It's not gonna stop it.
It would definitely make it so that it's not as easy. But go ahead, Mom.
All right, you got something?
Go ahead and speak. I got some, but I can't. You haven't spoken yet, so.
So I've been a concealed weapons permit holder since I was 21. Okay. I know guns. I own an Armalite rifle, which is essentially what AR stands for. It just coincidentally.
Model 15.
Model 15. Thank you, my brother. It just coincidentally happens to have the same letters as assault rifle. So it's a political ploy. At the end of the day, we have to be very, very cautious and look at the details and not just allow these things, because they are tragedies. It hurt me. Buffalo hurt me to my core. Uvalde, how do you say it?
Uvalde. Quick question: did you see the Buffalo video?
Yeah.
All right, you saw it. Okay.
I need to know before we start banning. It's fear mongering to me. Is what I think it is. I think they're trying to scare us into giving up our ability to defend ourselves against a tyrannical government, potentially. And the reason why I say that is...
And you're not voting Republican. All right, go ahead.
Nigga, you don't know, first of all, you don't know how I vote.
Oh, I don't. You're right.
You don't know how I vote. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But my point is that this young man who was unemployed living with his grandmother drove like 200-300 miles or some shit, you know what I'm saying, with like $20,000 worth of, you know what I'm saying, worth of munitions, a $30,000 truck. What I'm saying is that you gotta think outside the box with a lot of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? You just have to. Don't fucking come touch my guns. I'll vote. Look, I feel like this right now. If you are black in this country, even if you don't have to get a CCW, but still get a CCW because you can travel around the country with it. There's 38 states that offer reciprocity. I was just in Denver. I travel with my pistol. It's not hard to do. When you're responsible, the same way with alcohol, the same way with a steak knife, the same way with a fucking hammer, you can, if you want to hurt somebody, it doesn't matter what you use. You know what I'm saying? You can hurt multiple people. You can hop on a train with a knife and slash up everybody on there in a short amount of time and do just as much damage. And it'll be just as vicious. Mm-hmm. They're using these things to scare us. And I'm not saying that they aren't real, but I'm saying like we just have to look at it from a multifaceted standpoint. Do a civilization that allows this government to disarm them, it's a wrap. It's just a wrap. And I'm just saying I just don't trust this government enough to say, yeah, I'm going to give you my guns, because that's how I feel. When I see a sign out there that says no guns allowed, I say this is the place where I need to carry my gun, as discreetly as possible.
The Black Panthers were Second Amendment conservative gun toters. Go ahead.
And Ronald Reagan hated.
Well, I think part of the question is too. I mean, dude, they can't even confiscate all these guns, even if they wanted.
500 million guns in this
take them. Yeah, it's impossible. It's a big mess. They couldn't even. They wouldn't even know where to begin if they wanted to confiscate everybody's guns. I mean, they can't even find everybody who's not paying their taxes.
It would start a civil war if the government tried to come and get everybody guns.
They can't find everybody who's not paying their taxes. So I don't think our guns are staying. That's all I'm saying.
London, real quick, just to piggyback off. London banned guns, right?
Handguns, yeah.
Handguns, right?
Well, yeah, guns in general. Yeah,
Yeah, guns. No, they got an all-out ban on
have a lot
guns.
of guns, yeah.
Knifings went up 35,000%. People are going to find a way to hurt each other, whether it's a rock or a gun.
It's funny because the last time I was in London, I was with a real liberal friend of mine, and she was talking all this gun control stuff and how the U.S. is all messed up or whatever because she lives in Europe. And, you know, and I was making some of these similar arguments. And, like, the next day there was a mass stabbing in London. So, yeah, I mean, or look at Waukesha, you know, the dancing grannies who got run over by a dude with a truck. And I mean, it's, you know, like I said, I mean, if the problem isn't the weapon of choice, the problem is the fact that a person shows disregard for human life and is willing to take it. Right. That is the problem.
30 seconds, everyone. I got a video to play.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Sheed and Lord have mercy. Every time I get the mic and get the camera, my train of thought seems to slip away. Okay, excuse me. There we go. I'm sorry, guys. So basically, again, you'll see all these like on TV, these like references of like obviously, oh my gosh, you know, which these are terrible events, but you have people dying from gun violence. But they're not showing, like, dude, every day there's a gas station clerk defending himself against a robber. I mean, I see it on Reddit all the time. But literally, gun store owners and hell, there was one out in Snellville not too long ago. 3 guys came into a gun store and literally tried to rob the store. And the dude was so skilled, one man was so skilled, that he might have gotten clipped, but in the process of running off 3 robbers, he killed one of them and then injured 2. But what I'm saying is that is not going to make it to mainstream news. The gas station clerks, the
woman in Charleston,
the woman with the party.
Yeah, the party. Yeah.
That's not going to make it to mainstream news. There are plenty of scenarios and occasions where people who are being responsible with their weapons are defending themselves and protecting themselves.
All right, final thought, Kevin.
I agree with everybody. I think at the end of the day, media is all about negativity anyway and fear. And so they're going to do that to try to create the narrative they want to create because they know most people operate out of fear anyway. So to get the outcome they want, they try to create the narrative how they want to see fit to scare people to do what they want them to do.
Don't touch my fucking guns. On another note, I lost my Neo yesterday. Had a massive heart attack. Ish Armageddon #2, Nufi. I love you, bro. We love you. Rest in, hey man. Rest in heaven, bro. You know what I'm saying?
So the final video is one I chose of Kevin Samuels trying to help a young black girl from making a poor decision about a black man who was being a man that she was dating who was being predatory with her. Why don't you go ahead and chew on that? East Point, smoke some dank.
College Park. You ain't let she get his phone.
Oh, I'm sorry that you did.
Well, are we still on? If we're still on, I'll just say to the video in Buffalo, I am not an Alex Jones guy, but watching that Buffalo video, it looks fake. I don't doubt its authenticity. I don't doubt these people actually died, but that video looks fake. We should look at it together, and I'll explain why it looks fake.
I watched the video, and I understand because there was a point in the video where he did shoot a lady in the head, and I didn't see anything.
It's like sweat.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and there's somebody off to the right behind her that's behind the trunk of a car. He's not even. That person's not even.
I
It's like
saw
it just
that.
falls
No,
down.
I
Just
watched
falls
it
down.
a lot.
Yeah. All right, we can go over it. Sorry. Old National got stinks.
Yeah.
Life.
All right. Are you your mother's only child?
I know I have two other siblings,
Are they sisters or brothers?
sisters,
Okay. So it's four women in the house. Okay. Are you the oldest, or youngest, or middle?
youngest.
Okay. So you're the baby girl.
Mm.
All right. The baby girl, and do all of your sisters? Do you all have the same father?
No.
Okay. Baby girl, no judgment. I'm not judging you. I'm just trying to understand. So it's three.
Okay.
You got two sisters and a mom. So there are four women, and you're the baby girl. Are either one of your sisters, are they married?
No.
Okay. So none of you. So you come from a family of all women.
Mhm.
None of your sisters are married. Okay.
Mhm.
And the first thing, and you want to know, should you date a man's potential? And
Yes.
as a 19-year-old woman who met a 26-year-old man, you shouldn't even be with this guy right now. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why. I don't need to know what he does for a living. He could be on Mount Rushmore. But a 26-year-old man stepping to a 19-year-old woman should be stepping to her with purpose. There is no way you or any other woman should be with a man for 4 years and not have a wedding ring. Let's be talking about potential. A man should have a woman. Real men do not play with these three things with a woman: love, marriage, children. Those are kryptonite to you. You can't defend against those. So at 19, I look at you as a woman that was 1 year out of high school. And at 26, if he was stepping to you as a 19-year-old, he should have been stepping to your mother with the intent of dating her daughter, who was 1 year out of high school. There's no way he should have allowed this to go on 4 years. He should have married you a long time ago. And I don't care if it was a diamond flake. It could have been a silver band. It could have been a Coca-Cola bottle cap. He'd been working however many goddamn jobs he needed to, where you ain't asking a strange man on YouTube 4 years later about potential.
Mhm.
But let me ask you this question now. That's just my general opinion. But what is he doing now that you see such potential in him?
Well, they opened up a business
Okay.
and they're working like every day. Like they work extremely hard.
Okay.
They work at least 12 hours a day at the job they have.
When you say they, I don't know who they are. Who's they? Him and
As
his
a person
friend?
dating.
No. We say they. I don't know. Is it him and his friend? Is it a family business? I don't know what they.
No,
is.
just him.
Okay. So he opened a business.
Mhm.
And what kind of business is it?
It's a non-profit to help.
Let me stop you right there, baby.
Okay.
Nonprofits tell you right there what kind of money it's gonna make. None. Are you guys sexually active?
Yes.
All right. If you, through all your contraceptives and birth control, if you somehow got a diagnosis you were pregnant with twins, can he afford to take care of you and those children?
No.
Huh?
No.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
And the reason I asked is because if you had a father would have would have sussed this out a long time ago. And your mother, You sound like you have no protection. So I'm just going to give you the general advice. That man, he needs to get himself together. And if he's still trying to figure it out at 30 years old, if he's working to build a nonprofit, is he a homeowner?
No,
Uh, he has an apartment.
no.
Who does he live with?
One of his friends.
Are you trolling me?
No, I'm not.
Why are you with this man?
Because I don't feel like I have many options. That's one, and then I really do care about him.
Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being honest. So, how tall are you?
5'5",
How much do you weigh?
145.
Okay. Did you go to college?
I did. I went to community college.
Okay. But you didn't finish? You got it? Or did you get an associate's?
I didn't finish. I kind of like switched over, so I
Okay.
just
It's
I
okay.
couldn't really
I'm
find what I
just trying to
liked.
understand what kind. And are you? And what state are you in?
I am currently in Florida.
You had to think about that one. Uh,
I know. I'm just scared. I don't want anyone to like find me or anything.
no one's gonna find you. Nobody's gonna find you. And here's a net of it. Um, I don't mean any insult by this, but you sound like a baby to me. And you're the baby girl. You got two older sisters and a mother who should someone. If one of the women you were dealing with doesn't sound like any of the women have any idea what's going on.
No.
So let me try to say this in the nicest way possible. You may care about this guy. You may love him. But love and marriage have nothing to do with one another to begin with. And you got 4 years into this. You don't know anything else. And at the end of the day, you don't feel like you got many options. And he got you when you were young. You can't make a cad into a dad. And the worst thing right now is to mess around and have a child by this guy. You will ruin your life. Because no quality man will ever take you seriously. You will be a side chick until you die. Did you understand what I just said?
Yes, I did.
Do you believe that?
Yeah.
No, you really don't. No, you really don't. And I will give you Exhibit A, your mother. You're on the path to becoming your mother. 3 children, 3 girls, no masculine energy, no direction, all feelings and chaos. 19-year-old girl gets with a 26-year-old guy who he doesn't own a home. He has nothing other than swag and maybe some good sex. And instead of just having a summer fling, you've been with him for 4 years. You've been with him for almost 20% of your life. This 30-year-old man should have had a job somewhere and been promoted 2 or 3 times. And he's starting a non-profit, which by its definition is broke work. But you don't know enough to know that because you only went a little bit through college. Now, as I'm asking you these questions, you're hearing it. And then when I say, does he own a home? I mean, does anything? He don't own a home. He don't even have an apartment. He lives with his friends. This dude, just on paper, is what I would call a loser. The world will call him a loser. If you're 25 years old and you're not living at home, you're a loser. Well, he's 30 and he's living with a roommate. Still a loser. any quality, any man that's decent is going to, that you would run into, is going to look at your history and say, well, shit, you spent 4 years with a loser. And if you have a child with him, you screwed your life. So if you hear nothing else, if you think everything I've said is bullshit, you think I got it completely wrong,